All right, now the audience is here. Now we can start our show.
All right.
Don't heckle us.
Heckle us.
Already. Good to see your husband's being supportive.
He's in a Hawaiian shirt.
He's gonna be critiquing. He's like, that's not a true Demerara rum.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm
Well, welcome to Rum. Today we are here to talk about some Demerara rums. These are the rums of Guyana, so that's where we'll be rum venturing today. We are in the backyard of Pleasant Tiki. Right next to me is Heather Pleasant. Heather, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about where we're at?
I'm Heather Pleasant. I'm part of the team of Pleasant Tiki. We're located in Skagit County, where we're filming today. Behind this beautiful Whitco bar. I am the granddaughter of William Westenhaver, who created Whitco decor in 1958 and provided tiki furniture and carvings throughout the U.S. from 1958 to 1978.
It's a long time.
Yes.
That's a lot of Whitco.
It's a lot of Whitco. And passed his skills and namesake on to my husband Ken Pleasant, and we continue to carve today.
Excellent.
Yeah, in the next episode of Welcome to Rum, we're actually going to be featuring Coors, and then we'll have your husband on, and we'll talk about the difference between
Great.
Coors and Coors Light.
I'm sure that he'll be thrilled.
We're going to start a new series. It'll be Welcome to Big Box Beer.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be called Welcome to Coors. Seriously, anybody out there, if you ever want to give her husband a gift, Coors Light. Just bring a case of Coors Light. Am I right?
Because he has a hard time finding it.
Heather, when you invited us out here and you told us that we were actually going to be filming on a vintage Whitco bar, I immediately thought of Demerara Rum. As Demerara Rum has a rich history with Tiki, Don the Beachcomber, or Ernest Raymond Beaumont Gant, as we all know Don Beach, he created cocktails and he had a strong knowledge of Caribbean rums. So Demerara Rum was kind of like his secret weapon to throw an extra punch into cocktails. And if you start looking at early Tiki cocktails, Demerara Rum comes up over and over again. Now, when I first started getting into trying to make my own cocktails, the only Demerara Rum I was aware of was Lemonheart 151. So I made a lot of overproof cocktails, not realizing that, there isn't just one Demerara Rum. It's a style. It has an origin. So Demerara Rum comes from Guyana. Guyana is it's kind of the north coast of South America, above Brazil, next to Venezuela. On the other side is French Guyana.
And how far away is that from Skagit County?
Pretty damn far. Okay, so it started out as a Dutch colony in the 1600s. Then by the early 1800s, the British took it over. Well, there is a region in Guyana, the Demerara region along the Demerara River, and that's where they put all of these sugar plantations and all of these distilleries. So over the centuries, it became known for a particular style of rum, and the British incorporated it into their naval rations, and that pretty much put it all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe a Demerara rum in basic terms?
To me, it's got a smoky characteristic, almost like a burnt sugar flavor to it. It's almost like a spiced rum without spices added to it.
So do you like the taste of burnt sugar?
Yeah, I do actually.
All right.
Caramelized.
Well, this is going to work out then.
I just have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Lemonheart made many styles, or?
Here's what it is. At one time in the Demerara region, there were literally hundreds of distilleries. Then it went down to like 40 or 50 distilleries. Then it went down to maybe half a dozen. Now there's only literally one distillery, but it's a large distillery, and they've moved apparatus stills from other distillers to that. So now all Demerara rums, all Demerara rums are made by Demerara Distillers Limited.
Okay.
And they're a huge conglomeration, do all kinds of business, but they moved other stills. So they actually have stills that date back to the 17 and 1800s. And an interesting little factoid is that in that region, because they had a problem with metal deteriorating, they used a native wood called, I believe, greenheart wood. That was so hard that you couldn't use conventional tools on it. And they actually made parts of their stills from this wood. And these stills from the 17 and 1800s are still in use today.
Wow, that's cool. And the metal deteriorated because of the humidity and the heat.
Right.
Interesting.
but they used a native wood that, the people of the region had been using throughout. Anyway, starting off, we've got the Dorado 5 year. So there's one for you, and there's one for Ray.
Thank you. So let's give this.
So
So this
give,
isn't.
Give it a little whiff first.
So this isn't an overproof rum.
No, this is a standard proof.
All right, let's
And I
give
would
it-
normally use this for mixing. I wouldn't normally drink it straight.
It smells delicious. Down the hatch.
Now, the lower proof are actually generally aged aged more time than the overproof. So this is probably a 3 to 5 year. Well, El Dorado is considered a 5 year. Lemonheart, I didn't find a signature or anything telling me exactly how old it is, but it's an aged rum, but not a greatly aged rum.
What do you think, Heather?
I think it's delicious.
You like it?
So if you had to describe the flavor for people,
I better take one more sip.
so
Do you want more?
Sweet.
well, say you were going to
It
compare
burns
this.
a little bit
Yes.
on your lips, but not so much going down. It's warm, but
So flavor-wise, if you
know.
were to compare this to, the shelf rums that people that have not really explored rum very much are familiar with, things like Cruzan or standard Bacardi.
I think this is fairly smooth.
Yes.
And
It's actually
sweet.
really smooth. I was expecting it to be a lot harsher than it is.
That's good.
Oh, we're working our way down the row.
I could drink this straight in a pinch.
Yes.
Oh, I could.
But I definitely think this would be something that you'd put in a cocktail.
But it has.
I think it's something you should drink out of a glass.
But it has a more robust and smoky flavor
I
to it
think
than
it's
what you would
good.
expect for most rums. The next aged Demerara of more standard proof, Lemonheart and Sons 1804. This is one that I picked up in Vancouver, British Columbia. I haven't found it stateside. It's an import from England.
Why can't you get it here?
That I'm not. I don't really know why it's not for sale in the U.S. It has to do something with import and export laws, or possibly just with desires. I know that they have difficulty getting 151 rums up in Canada, so that may be why it's up there.
So you
But there may
can't-
not
you-
be a call for.
Can we bring them across the border?
Yes, that's how.
Yeah, you can.
Yes, you're
I
allowed.
just-
You're allowed so many liters per trip.
Okay.
But unfortunately, you're not going to be able to buy this in downtown Sedro-Woolley. Hey, gang, we'll get back to the Tiki conversation here in just a second, but I want to let y'all know they have t-shirts for sale. They are screen printed in America. The artist is Tony Canepa, and they're going for $20 a piece, $25 including shipping. If you're interested in buying one, go to my website, tikiwithray.com, and then there's a tab that says buy a t-shirt. Click on there and just follow the prompts. So thank you very much.
All right.
So
Cheers.
Cheers. So what do you think?
It reminds me of tequila for some reason.
That's a darker
like
tequila. I can see it.
cask. Maybe it's, I don't know.
So try to
Is it
compare.
Interesting.
it tastes like tequila.
Something about it reminds me of certain types of tequila. I don't know.
Almost like a mezcal?
What's it aged in?
Like a mezcal?
No,
No, okay.
Generally wooden casks.
that's probably why.
Is this a
Because
spiced
certain
rum?
tequilas.
No,
Or
it's not. It's not a
smoky?
spiced rum, but generally speaking, your Demeraras are going to have a smoky flavor.
This definitely has
And I
more
don't
of
know-
a smoky flavor than the other.
Yes, yes, I found this one to be a little deeper and darker.
Yeah. Do you like?
So if you were to compare the two that we've had so far, do you have a preference for one or the
This
other,
is-
or a
this
flavor
one-
difference?
Yes, this isn't a sweet, and it's smoky, woody,
Yep.
and I like the first one better.
I like the first one.
Really?
better.
See, to me, the El Dorado has a little bit more burn on it, and this seems a little bit more complex.
This is smooth.
Mm-hmm.
There's no burn, but I just prefer the flavor profile of the first one.
To me, actually, it's like apples and oranges almost. They're like almost like two completely different types of rums.
Yeah.
Despite the fact they're both the same proof, they come out of the same distillery, but likely out of different stills, and there's differences in how they're blended together.
Yeah, I think they're definitely completely different. But I like them both. I'm actually on the fence. I think it would be a situation where it's like I'd be in the mood for one or the other.
Well, once we're
The
done,
first is smoother, but this one has more
I-
flavor.
see,
I don't agree. I
was
think
gonna
this
say-
is smoother and that's sweeter.
Next, we're going to move on to the overproof. Now, the OFTD, or Old Fashioned Traditional Dark, from Plantation Rums of Maison Ferrand, it isn't strictly a Guyana rum, but it's got a Guyana component, and I thought that would be kind of interesting because what we talked about a little bit ago, the British naval rum generally had a backbone that was, say, 60% Demerara Guyana rum. And it was owing to location and cost and the British Navy sourcing things. I think it also had components usually from Jamaica and Trinidad as well.
Yeah, it says Barbados,
Yes.
Jamaica.
Yes, various British colonies.
Yeah.
So we will start with the OFTD. This is going to be a little bit more right there in your face when you sip it.
Let's give this a shot.
You might want to take this one a little slower.
Ha!
And that's got some woo-ha on it.
That's good.
Ha!
So,
But you can definitely tell it's an overproof rum, but it's not like overproof.
but
like
it's an
I've
absolute flavor bomb. So,
It's spicy.
had. Oh yeah.
so Ray, in your early bar going days, did you have that one friend that felt like they cracked the code and discovered that instead of a rum and Coke, they could get a 151 in Coke?
No, my friends weren't that clever.
So
we
so
drank
what
a
it
lot
was,
of Pabst Blue Ribbon.
So what it was is you got nearly double the amount of alcohol in your system, and you only paid like $2 or $3 more for your cocktail.
There was a lot. There was a lot of Pabst Blue Ribbon, a lot of Rolling Rock, a lot of Yingling, which is where I'm from.
I don't know what that is.
Well, the thing is, Bacardi 151 is fairly common at bars.
It's still
Oof,
burning my
no.
mouth a little bit.
It's good.
But when you
I
try
like
to
it.
compare the flavor complexities once you get into something like this, and this is
That's a unique flavor rum. It is. And here's the interesting thing: you can tell it's a plantation rum.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I taste it, like
can.
that's plantation.
Yep, you can.
What do you think, Heather?
Yeah. It's strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has a sweetness. Has a lot of spice flavors.
Oh, yeah.
Spice notes.
so what it is that
It's really
Plantation and their parent company have a relationship with Demerara Distillers Limited. And Plantation rums, what they do is they blend rums together from different sources to get a profile of a flavor. They don't actually distill things themselves. Still getting it, Ray?
Is that what happens when you drink a lot of this stuff? You become that guy that. It's serious. It's like there's a flavor to it, and it's good, but it is strong.
Yeah.
This is definitely not a sipper. Don't
No.
sip. You're gonna put this in a cocktail
and light it on.
Generally.
and light it on fire.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things
You
with
don't
the,
no lighters around my mouth right now.
with the overproof rums, there's actually a warning on the label typically telling you that it is very flammable. Don't get it near flames. So
It's good, but it is strong.
So when you look at some of the old school tableside desserts like Bananas Foster that they would flambe, they would use a high proof rum for that because it would impart the flavors and it was easy to ignite.
But Jason Alexander at the Devil's Reef
Yes.
uses this a lot in a lot of his cocktails. Usually as like a float or even like a half ounce or something like that.
Yeah, that's just the thing. With the overproof rums, you rarely have more than an ounce in a cocktail, except maybe like a 151 Swizzle that'll have an ounce and a half.
Yeah. And the idea about that is it's going to melt with the ice too.
Right.
What's next, Jason?
So next, we are going to move on to the Lemonheart 151, which is almost synonymous with tiki recipes. In fact, there is a quote here from Matt Petrick that I wanted to include.
So you always keep quotes of
Yes,
Matt
right
Petrick
under the bar.
underneath Heather's bar.
It said,
Look what I found down here. It's a quote from Matt Petrick.
well, I was trying to memorize it, and it just wasn't going to happen while I was sipping rum and talking on camera. So,
Oh.
Did your grandfather know Matt Petrick?
He did. He did, Ray. Yeah.
According to Matt Petrick,
You never know.
one of his articles, Ray, in the annals of rum history, Demerara rum appears over and over again. For 2 centuries, Demerara rum was the core component of the British Navy rum blend until the Daily Tot ended in 1970. Furthermore, during Tiki's formative years, Demerara rum's earthy, smoky profile was called for in many Don the Beachcomber and Trader Vic recipes. To this day, Lemonheart 151 Demerara rum is synonymous with Tiki like no other rum is. So,
There you go.
Ray and I are not rum experts. We're rum enthusiasts. And we come to it from a Tiki perspective, and that we became enthusiasts of Tiki. Tiki is full of rum.
Right.
So the more you're around rum, the more you want to know about it, the more it just gets interesting trying to find out
Absolutely.
about it. So that's how we got here. So Ray, how about you pass those shots? Thank you very kindly.
So he's saying that this rum right here, this Lemonheart and Son, is the backbone to a lot of tiki drinks.
Yes, it was that added oomph that was
This
thrown
is
in.
going to be an
I already
This is an overproof rum.
Yes.
I already sense a strong
All right, let's try this.
flavor profile.
It's smoother than the OFTD.
In some ways. In some
Is
ways,
this
yes.
stronger than this one?
Yes.
This had more bite to it.
So another thing about Demerara Rums,
That is,
What's so funny?
that's strong.
What's so seriously? What's so funny?
You'll see it. Her reaction, you'll see it.
It's so really strong. But you know what I immediately when you smell it, maple. It smells like maple, kind of.
Yes.
Do you notice that?
No,
that would be the molasses component.
No, that's
Yeah.
the smell of my throat on fire, Heather. But I mean it. This is actually smoother to me than this one. But you think this one's stronger? This
Yes.
one,
It is.
Yes.
It's stronger in proof, and I
did
find the OFD
or
to
did
be
this
smoother.
one numb me, my throat, so I don't taste this as much?
It could be.
Yeah, that's that. Okay, that one hit me there. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so the Lemonheart 151 is going to be in such classic drinks as your Zombie Punch from 1934.
Yep.
It's also going to be a component of your Jet Pilot, which was kind of a retake on the Test Pilot by Don Beach. I think it was Stephen Crane and his Kontiki or Luau restaurants did the Jet Pilot. That would have the 151 from Lemonheart.
I've tasted this rum before. It's familiar.
Now,
You're right. So
one
it's in
thing-
the stronger drinks then.
Yes.
Yeah, this isn't going to be like in a Mai Tai.
These are the ones that tend to sneak up on you. The ones that have a reputation, the ones that some bars would limit how many you should get of that drink. So before we move on,
Before you go on, is
because-
this one stronger than all these yet? Or?
because of all the differences in Demerara Rums of Guyana that had to do with political differences, where things were being distilled, who was in charge of what, it's changed somewhat over the years. In the 1960s, all through the Caribbean, the various islands started achieving their independence. So I think it was 1966 that Guyana stopped being British Guyana and simply became Guyana. Well, then it went through a socialist phase where they nationalized things, and then they eventually decided this isn't working out, and they privatized once again. So with all of that, formulations changed over the years, and per a Martin Cates seminar at TikiCon, found out that the Lemonheart that would have been used in the 30s and 40s, Lemonheart 151, would have had a different profile than what we get today. So in order to try and achieve that profile, they did various experiments, and some of that we came up with the OFTD, but also what should, we think, more likely replicate what the vintage of Lemonheart 151 was, is what we've got in the Hamilton 151. So it was formulated to try and replicate
This one right here?
what people, right, the 151 that people might have been drinking in previous decades.
That's cool.
Oh,
So
here.
pass that
That's
over.
exciting.
And this one has some oomph on it.
Oh, like the other two didn't?
This one has some oomph on it.
Okay.
Drink with caution.
Cheers.
Bang pow.
In my opinion, it's actually smoother than both of those.
I agree.
It's a quality.
I was expecting it to be brutal, but it actually isn't.
Once-
It's strong. It's really strong.
Once I found a few bottles of the Hamilton 151, I started trying to incorporate that in cocktails
I-
more because I think it's more flavorful than the Lemonheart 151.
So the interesting thing is these are all Demerara rums. And I'll be honest with you, Jason, all 5 of these rums are completely unique.
Are distinctively different. So if you're making traditional recipes using the same amounts and using the category of rum that they're asking for, what brand you choose is going to strongly affect how that cocktail turns out. So it's a matter of finding out what suits your palate or what suits your guest palate.
So what do you think of this one, Head? What do you think of that?
I like it.
You like it?
I like it. It goes down easier than the first two,
Yeah,
I think.
surprisingly.
Okay.
Yeah.
It
Because it's definitely higher octane than the OFTD.
Yeah,
It's running even with the Lemonheart
it's
151.
really different than the other two.
So out of all these rums, do you have a favorite?
No. I really like the first one. I like
Yeah.
my rum to taste a little bit sweeter.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, I really like the plantation, and this last one, I really, really like.
In the next episode, Jason, you're gonna put
I'm
these
gonna-
rums to use and make some cocktails.
Right, I'm going to make some cocktails and see if we can notice a difference in the rums when they're actually incorporated into a cocktail. So for the more standard proof aged Demeraras here, I'm going to use a shrunken skull recipe.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do a kind of an oddball zombie recipe. It's a 1938 zombie,
Okay.
which I'll give some more details of that when we get back on camera.
All right. Well, Everyone, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for episode 2 where we're going to try these in some cocktails.
And we're going to subtitle this one, Making Faces with Heather. Ken, if you're interested, Heather left you a little up here.
Okay, come on up.
Commercial
There you
break, Coors Light. If you guys need help restoring your Whitco decor, old furniture, Howard's Feed and Wax works amazingly. How's
Down
that?
the hatch.
Hey, that's...
Here,
hey, that
down
that
the
was
hatch.
right where that quote were from Matt Petrick was.
Down the hatch.
What else is in that bar?
There's a lot
amazing.
of stuff in here.
What's this old piece of paper? It's a quote from Matt Petrick.
That does smell like maple
Okay,
or
I'm
molasses.
going to go get busy.
That might be that one.
Ray, can you bring those bottles in, please?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to drink them
stuff.
first. All right, I don't need them. I'm going to do this myself. Welcome to Rum. Come on up, Jeff. Let's do this. I'm gonna mess up all the rums and change them all around. Why doesn't this taste like Lemonheart?